Yeah, good evening, everyone. So let's get started. So let me just give you a quick recap what we discussed in the last class. So in our last class, guys, we basically entered into a topic web application security. So after knowing what are the basically usability of internet. So whenever you go for internet, what is happening in the internet and how vulnerable our data is. So after discussing everything, we just moved forward with two types of attacks, that is denial of service attack and distributed denial of service attack. So there are basically two types of attacks which are targeted mainly to deny the service. So whatever the service of a website is, we basically target that particular service, that particular website. So whenever you go for the service of that website, that basically is resumed for some period of time. So whenever this particular attack is performed, uh, attacks the it directly attacks the servers of the website. So those servers basically they go out of service due to not having the right compatibility. So due to not having the right hardware or processing speed. So due to that, so basically guys, it targets our server. So due to not having the right computational power of the server, so it basically, whenever you go for the processing speed, whenever you go for the functioning of the server, that slowly comes down. And whenever the server stops processing properly in the right manner, so whenever the performance is getting basically downside, whenever the performance is getting decreased, that time at some extent of point, server will stop working because of having lot of requests. And the requests have been sent by using the fake IP addresses. So the attacker will directly take the fake IP addresses and he will send multiple requests from those multiple IP addresses. Same thing in the distributed denial of service. We basically target few victims, that is basically different victims, and we basically launch an attack from those victim species. So that is denial of service attack. So there are basically two different tools for denial of service attack. One is low orbit ion cannon, and next one is going to be high orbit ion cannon. High orbit ion cannon. They are basically going to be two different tools which are majorly used. They are basically user interface tools which are majorly used for denial of service attacks. Now, whenever we speak about the countermeasures of denial of service attack, so first thing is we basically need to filter all the traffic. So whatever the IP addresses are trying to access our websites, whatever the IP addresses are trying to update, download the data or upload the data or edit the data. So those all functions should be controlled and monitored properly. So restricting the IP addresses which are coming from the multiple locations where you don't even provide the service, those can be completely separated and blocked. And also using the firewalls with the right rule sets. So we are basically going to create different number of rules which directly help this particular user, help this particular client to basically monitor the whole IP addresses and monitor the whole network. So what is one particular IP address accessing? So each and everything you will get to know. And whenever there is basically a user who is trying to access some unauthorized data, that time directly either an alert will be generated or else there will be a firewall will directly block that particular IP address. So tools, whenever we speak about tools, we got web application firewalls, which basically inspects the traffic, recognizes the different patterns of the traffic, and also monitors the incoming and outgoing traffic, that is inbound and outbound traffic. And also we are going to keep in mind, we are going to keep in track of locations and a number of IP addresses which are basically trying to access our website. So whenever you see directly there is a increase of IP addresses, that is basically directly of increase of consumptibility of users who let's say 10,000 people are accessing my website, and directly in 30 to 40 seconds, there are 1 lakh to 2 lakh people who are accessing my website. So this basically direct increase in the traffic will also create the firewall to either filter out the traffic or monitor the traffic. So that is where you are going to monitor each and everything, and then you will basically decide to block or to blacklist that particular IP address from accessing your resources. So that is how denial of service attack can be prevented. Now, if we move forward, guys, we basically discussed something about OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. Now, whenever you go for OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, so in the whole 2021 or 2017, in the whole 1 year duration, based upon the data breaches, based upon the attacks performed in security level, so they are basically top 10 vulnerabilities found in each and every website or each and every platform. So this basically is considered as web application vulnerabilities. So whenever you go for the top 10 vulnerabilities, we got broken access control, cryptographic failures where encryption and decryption failures have been done, and injection attacks include cross-site injection and SQL injection on the databases to basically steal the database data. Insecure design is nothing but not using the right architecture. So security misconfiguration, not configuring the authority. So let's say if you have users to access few resources and administrator to access few resources, whereas both user IDs and passwords are different. And due to some security misconfiguration, all the users who are present on the website are able to access even admin level of resources. So that is where misconfiguration can be done. And we got vulnerable and outdated components are nothing but the reason we get a new update of an application or of an software of an operating system is because the older version definitely has some vulnerability. So we need to definitely take care of using the updated versions of any component or any operating system or any software. So identification and authentication failures are nothing but user IDs and passwords. So this particular vulnerability can be it can be removed by using multi-factor authentication or two-way authentication. So rather than using a traditional user ID and password, you can definitely go for user ID, password, and some OTP sent to your mobile number or OTP sent to your email address. So that could be a solution for this. So software and data integrity failures are nothing but not using the proper software development uh, rules. So which is basically whenever you're trying to build a software, you need to take care of the security, where the data is getting stored, where the user IDs and passwords are getting stored. And security logging and monitoring is nothing but if you don't monitor your whole network or you don't monitor the resources which are present in your network, so anyone will be able to use those resources. If there is one kind of unknown IP address, uh, he is basically trying to access your network and trying to download or trying to approach to the unauthorized data which is present. So then definitely if you are monitoring, you can directly block that access or you can remove the IP address. But if you're not monitoring properly, then definitely he is going to take out the unauthorized access and he will definitely access all the private data present in the infrastructure. Server-side request forgery. Now, whenever you go for server-side request forgery, whenever you're requesting for some data, you can basically try to manipulate the request and you can try to send that particular request. So it is basically whenever you go for server-side request forgery, it can be also called as man-in-the-middle attack. So whenever you go for man-in-the-middle attack, you basically try to request something, but someone in the middle, he will try to change your request and he will try to forward it to that particular server. So server will respond and whatever the loss is there, that will be faced by the person who sent it. But in between, whoever the man in the middle is, he will try to manipulate that particular data. So that is nothing but server-side request forgery, SSRF. Now to practice all these top 10 vulnerabilities, we got one server that is a virtual server called as Metasploitable server. Whenever you go for Kali Linux, it is considered as a virtual machine, and Metasploitable server is considered as the virtual server in which you got something called as DVWA. DVWA is nothing but damn vulnerable web application. So by using this damn vulnerable web application, you can perform SQL injection attacks, you can perform cross-site injection attacks, you can perform brute forcing. So there are basically a number of list of attacks which you can perform and which you can use for the practice and educational purpose. So we discussed something about SQL injection where user will try to basically give an input of some kind of SQL parameters. By using this SQL parameters, he will basically inject these SQL parameters in the user name or user ID text box or password text box. That time if this database is vulnerable, then it will basically show you the user IDs and passwords which are present in this location. So whenever you go for this username text box, if I basically type username in the backend, it will save somewhere, right? So whenever this usernames and passwords are being saved, whatever the location is in the database, there particularly there are basically, let's say, 10 names, 10 usernames and 10 passwords being stored in that particular database. So there is a table in this location where these two text boxes are saving the data. So the whole data will basically be projected on the screen. By showing error, he will basically show all the information on the screen itself. So that is basically how SQL injection is used. Whenever you go for this particular server, which is basically metasploitable, just a moment. Outdated components. So guys, outdated components is nothing but, so here we basically got two things. So here FTP is there, which is basically file transfer protocol, and another one is server message block, that is SMB protocol. They're basically two different protocols. Now whenever you go for this metasploitable server, under this metasploitable server, they are basically FTP and SMB is there. So definitely here one thing is FTP is basically outdated, which basically uses VS FTPD version, and SMB is also basically going to be the outdated one. So whenever I tell something is outdated, they basically are vulnerable for the outdated components, which is mentioned in the OWASP top 10 also. So here you can see vulnerable and outdated components. So whenever you go for vulnerable and outdated components, so if there is a vulnerability, if you are using the older version, then definitely it will basically be a outdated component, that is either FTP or SMB. So that is the thing. So metasploitable server is vulnerable to both of these things and protocols. And whenever we are trying to perform an attack that is on metasploitable server or any of the website, there is one thing that we are going to use. There is basically one tool in Kali Linux, that is metasploitable. Sorry, metasploit, not exploitable. So that is basically going to be Metasploit. So Metasploit is basically a tool where you will get all the attack vectors and libraries which are already saved. So you can use those attack vectors which are already present, and you can definitely perform an attack by using those attack vectors. So already everything is basically going to be saved in that Metasploit tool. So by using the old libraries which are present, you can definitely perform the attack. Yeah. Now we will just go to Metasploitable. Let me just show you guys. So here, whenever you enter this Kali Linux, here you can just go directly and type MSF console, or here you also have the tool Metasploit framework. So Metasploit framework is one, and MSF console command is one to turn it on. So guys, here whenever you go for this Metasploit, you can just type hyphen hyphen help, or else you can go for ls help. Just you can type help, and here you will get a lot of things. See core commands, display the awesome metasploitable banner, cd change the directory. This is one. So modules, advanced, display the advanced options. So these are basically different options you can find. Job commands, displays manage job, skill a job, rename my job. So make RC, save the commands entered. So command DB connect, correcting the existing data service, export the data service, import the data service. You can use nmap by using this. Here you can also use nmap. So this is some kind of automated tool you can tell, which we are basically using. So let me just show you how it will exactly work. So here guys, first thing is once you enter into Kali Linux terminal, you can just type MSF console, and you can start the Metasploit framework. Now once you basically click enter, the Metasploit framework will open. After this, we can directly go and we can create the Metasploit. We can basically turn on our Metasploitable server in VirtualBox. So let's just turn on Metasploitable server. Now here guys, login ID and password it last. You can basically go for MSF, Metasploitable user ID and password. So MSF admin and MSF admin is going to be the user ID and password. Now once you basically type ifconfig, you will get the IP address of the Metasploitable server. Once you get the IP address, you can just target that 192.168.0.4 IP address, and you can basically browse the Metasploitable server on your local host, and we can go for DVWA, that is damn vulnerable web application. Now here username is going to be admin and password is going to be password. Now here guys, once you get into your DVWA, that is damn vulnerable web application, here you can go to setup and create a database first. Once the database has created, then you can definitely go to the security part. So there are basically three different security parts: low, medium, and high. We'll start with low. Submit, and then you can perform SQL injection attack. So SQL injection, as I told you in the last session, we will basically give different parameters. So let's just give our first parameter and see what will get the output. Whenever you go for parameters, so they are basically a combination of different special characters, numbers, and letters. So what they basically do is they try to manipulate the SQL, that is the database. So whenever the database is not able to process that username or password, then definitely it is going to project out the data which is present in that particular text box. So this user ID text box is going to save the usernames in some particular table, right? So that table will be displayed once you give the parameters. See, the first name admin, surname admin, first name. So usernames, everything is given. Now, whenever you go for the password, there is another, you can tell one parameter. We can basically give another parameter to project the uh, passwords. Now here, these are all usernames, guys. So ID it is giving whatever the ID we have given. It is considering as a user ID, but that is actually not the ID. That is basically the vulnerable SQL parameter which we give. So guys, whenever you go for SQL parameter for the passwords, so here you can see in the surname part, it basically gave us something in encrypted hash format. So they are basically in encrypted format. They are not in a readable format. So whenever you go for this SQL parameter given, there basically it is a parameter which concentrates on the SQL query. So based upon that query, we are going to design a query so that it can basically show us the passwords, whatever the passwords are being saved in the database. So union select user comma password from users. So this basically password from users is nothing but users is going to be the table, and from that we are basically taking out the password section. So here whenever you go for the surname, so these are all nothing but guys, each and every part has a surname. Sir, how we know that parameters? Okay, just give me a moment. I'll share the parameters here. So you can just go to Google and type SQL parameters. Just a moment. I'll be sharing those. So I guess in this is basically a revision module. So in past module, whenever I discussed about SQL injection, I shared a cheat sheet of port swigger. So I'll just share it again. SQL injection. Uh, just a moment, guys. Invicti, yes. Sir, you said that you are going to explain the advanced system hacking via SMB exploitation. Yes, yes. Next is that one only, Amarnath. I remember that. Just a moment, guys. SQL injection, cheat sheet, exploitable notes. Yeah, you can just copy this link. I'm sharing it in the chat box. Yeah, guys, I have shared that SQL injection exploitable SQL injection exploitation parameters. You can just go to that particular link, and their number of inputs are there for HTTP for different usabilities for different scenarios. You have different parameters. Now here, if you concentrate on screen, so here we got some hash value, right? Now it is basically in non-readable format. If you want to make it in a readable format, you need to decrypt it, or you need to unhash that particular value. So to basically know what is the text hidden in this hash value, you can just go to some website and you can just try to unhash that particular value. So we can just copy this hash value and crackstation.net. So here, whenever you go for the 5 hashes, so password is one, ABC123 is the one password, Charlie is one password, let me in, and password is the fifth one. So these are basically 5 different passwords, and these were encrypted by using the MD5 algorithm. You can see type is also present there, MD5 algorithm. So whenever you go for SHA, RSA, MD5, these are all nothing but encryption and decryption algorithms. So coming back to our DVWA, so that is how we use SQL injection, guys. So now, whenever you go for a cross-site scripting attack, let's see how this cross-site scripting attack works here. So here we are basically giving a username hello. So you can just give multiple usernames. Yeah, guys. So whenever you go for cross-site scripting, so this cross-site scripting is basically nothing but whenever you right click and click inspect, you will get a code, right? So we will try to manipulate that code for the website, and we will try to change the values. So here, whenever you go for this particular DVWA, here you can just check how it exactly changes in the backend. So in the backend, you can basically give some IP address for where you can just you can try to decrypt that particular, you can try to, what we say that. So whenever you basically give this script, whatever the traffic is there, that will basically send to that particular IP address. So here, in the input, if I type something, so whenever you go for this IP address, whatever we give here, so here everything you can basically transfer to that particular IP address. Here, let me just inject this simple script. So once you basically inject this single script and you go for submit, see, you have been hacked. So like this, in the backend, we are going to manipulate the code. Once you manipulate that code, so it will basically, whatever the website is there, it will, once that code is submitted, so that code, whenever it is executed, that time you will get the output. So output is automatically generated. You don't need to change anything. You don't need to do anything. Once you give the script, that will be submitted. Now, whenever you go for the source code here in the backend, see, hello script alert, you have been hacked. So script, whatever you are trying to inject in the front end, that will be changed in the back end. That is a source code. So this is nothing but whenever you go for the source code, if you are not using the right software configuration, if you don't build your code securely, then definitely anyone can take advantage of your backend, and he can inject the scripts. Now here in the second scenario, we have a script document.cookie, and if we submit this particular script here, just check the output. Say security low. So here one particular hash is created. So here it is basically mentioned PHP session ID. So session ID is nothing but, guys, whenever you go for a website, you try to save user IDs and passwords in that particular website, right? So if I basically first time whenever I am trying to use user ID and password, and whenever you want to save user ID and password on your system on your one particular website, then definitely you need to type at least for one time. So if you type one time, that will be saved in the backend. Whenever you log into that website, you can use it. So it will automatically let you in by automatically logging in with user ID and saved user ID and saved password. So how exactly it is saved is, it will not exactly save your user ID and password. It will save the session ID. So whenever you try to give the login, whenever you try to give the password as an input, so that process is being saved rather than the values being saved. That particular process is called a session. So login is one session, logout is one session. So login session, the whole session is basically saved, and that session has a particular ID. Now, once we basically copy this session ID, so those particular session IDs are vulnerable because they can basically show your user IDs and passwords. If there is no proper security infrastructure or security parameters being used, then definitely we are going to lose our user IDs and passwords. Okay, it's not responding. Yeah, guys. So that is basically how session IDs will be projected. Sir, if we want any website admin's user ID and password to log in, then which method will be useful to perform this? Cross-site scripting is only useful, XSS attack is useful, but you need to make sure that particular website is vulnerable. That website is vulnerable, then only cross-site scripting will work. So if someone is not allowing you to type scripts in the, that is basically in the text box which is present on user interface, which is directly impacting the source code, then still it is not vulnerable for the cross-site scripting. So that is the thing. Okay, guys, now if we move forward, we'll go for the SMB protocol, SMB attack on Metasploitable server. So let's just move forward with SMB. So we have two things to perform in using Metasploitable, that using the server based attacks. So in that server, one is FTP, that is file transfer protocol, and another one is SMB, service message block. So two protocols are going to be vulnerable. Now here, whenever you go for your Metasploit, so you can basically set a target of your Metasploitable server here. So first thing is you should be able to see the open ports to build a connection. Now, whenever you find a vulnerability in one particular server, our target is going to be to definitely build a connection to that particular IP address. So we are trying to build a connection to that particular IP address. So once we basically get the information about open ports, closed ports, uh, all the information, which port is open, which port is closed, then definitely we can build a backdoor connection to that particular server using that particular protocol. Now see guys, list of open ports have been projected. So by using Nmap, we basically try to see what are the ports are open. Now first thing is FTP port is open, FTP service, file transfer protocol, that is working on 21 port number 21 TCP, and another one is SMB, service message block. So by using these two different open ports, we can basically try to attack. Now, here first thing is we need to launch our Metasploitable. So once we basically go to our Metasploit tool, then definitely we can just give the target to this IP address, choose the service, and then we are going to attack. So Metasploit basically has some inbuilt different number of libraries. Now here you can just type search and you can basically type the target which you're targeting. So here we are performing attack on SMB, right? Service message block. So you can type search SMB. If you want to go for FTP, you can basically go for the version of that particular file transfer protocol. So search FTP you can type. So here whenever you go for this SMB, so here you can see there are list of different libraries, different payloads present here. Now, whenever you go for these different payloads, so each and everything, either you go for auxiliary, doc, query tools, overflow. If you go for 68th one, it is different. 72 one, it is different. 71, it is different. 70, it is different. So each and everything is going to be different. And on the right side, you can see 2017, 613, 2021. This date is nothing but this is the date when vulnerability was found. And whenever you go for the average manual normal, it is basically the kind of you can tell what is the effect of that particular vulnerability. Whenever you go for effect of the vulnerability, either it is average, either it is manual, either it is normal, then it is going to show and where exactly the vulnerability was found. Either it was on Microsoft Windows, Microsoft Windows SMB directory, Microsoft Windows SRV dot system, Microsoft Windows shell. So it is basically exactly the target. So targets we got basically the mode, that is basically either the attack is going to be average, manual, normal, excellent. So what is the effect of that particular vulnerability and exactly the dates of those particular vulnerabilities. Now, if we move forward, here you can just search for Samba. That is basically the so that is basically going to be for SMB. Now, guys, whenever you go for FTP, VSFTPD is going to be the version. So for SMB, SAMBA, Samba is going to be the version. So by using this Samba, Here you can just type the number which you want to use. So you can just type use. So here we are basically going to use the eighth vulnerability. That is the eighth one, that is exploit multi Samba user map script, which is going to be 2007 excellent Samba username map script command execution. So just type use and you can give the number. So once you basically type use and you basically give the exact location, then there you can basically go for show options. Now in the options, what is exactly what why basically we use these options is we are going to give the victim, we are going to give the target. So target is one, host is one. So if I am performing the target, I will give my IP address in my IP address and the port number which I want to target. That is basically C host and C port. And you can basically give R host and R host and R port for the target one. So here you can just type C host and then you can give the input, then R host you can give the input. So R host is nothing but metasploitable IP address. R port is port number 139 where the SMB is operating, and C host is our own IP address. C port is the port that we want to send the information, send the connection from. Guys, if your abstract score is 0, then it is not yet corrected, I guess. Just wait for some time. Once it is evaluated, then they will definitely let you know if your abstract is 0 or not. So set R host is going to be the metasploitable servers R host, that is a target IP address. And set R port is going to be the port number 126. Now guys, here one thing is there, you can directly either go for exploit, automatically the attack will be done. or else you can give C host and C port, but it is not mandatory. Now, once you basically go for exploit, so it will show you started reverse TCP handler on 192.168.0.8, and it will basically build a reverse connection. So once the session is created, then definitely you will get the all the files which are present in that particular Metasploitable server. Now guys, first one was related to a map. A second one is going to be related to multi-Samba user map. So here you can just, what is the practical output of the project advanced system hacking via SMB exploitation, sir? So let me just scroll up and show you the output exactly how it will work. So guys, let me give me just 1 second. Here we are going to go for show options. Just a moment. So in Metasploit, you can directly go and go for search SMB. Once you search for SMB, here you need to choose the exact version, that is, you can just type search Solaris. So in this Solaris, you can go for exploit SSH username, Samba. Yeah, guys, I'll explain the SMB exploitation once again. Please try to look. So, I guess one person has the project related to this. So whenever you go for SMB, guys, first thing is in SMB, Samba is the one which is going to be the version. You can just go for type use Samba, and there you will get the exploit that is basically going to be the eighth exploit, user map script. You can just type user map script. So try to copy it and paste use space the same eighth exploit, and then go for enter. Now, once you basically use this module, here we are going to use show options, and then you will get the R host, L host options. So once you type show options, there you can give a target of R host, that is basically going to be the Metasploitable target. So L host is already set, that is 192.168.0.8. Port is also 4444. Now, one thing we need to give is that is a target, that is a Metasploitable one. So once you basically give set R host 192.168.0.4, that is the target is going to get logged. Go for enter. Now you can just type exploit. Now, once we basically set the target and we go for exploit, so exactly what is happening here is we will be building a backdoor reverse connection with the particular IP address using SMB protocol. So using the SMB protocol, once we basically build a session from the backdoor, see command shell one opened. So command shell one opened and a session created. Now, once the session is created, you can just type who am I, or you can type ls. So once you type who am I, root. If you basically type ls, you will get the number of different directories which are present in the Metasploitable server. So using SMB, we are trying to access the directories which are present in the server. So that is the main target. How we basically initiated it by using the older version of the SMB, which is vulnerable, that is Samba. So this is one part. Now, whenever you go for another part, we got a file transfer protocol. So in file transfer protocol, there is basically port number 21 and the version is going to be VSFTPD 2.3.4. Now, whenever you go for VSFTPD, so type searching for that particular version, you can basically get the exact module of that particular version. So you can just abort the first session. Now here, again, go for MSF console and then you can search for search VSFTPD. So here you basically got two options. Backdoor command execution is one. Another one is denial of service. So we basically want to perform the first one, that is the exploit Unix FTPD vs FTPD backdoor. So we are going to build a backdoor remote connection with this server by using vs FTPD. So show options. So first you need to go for use. Then once you basically type use, go for show options, set our host 192.168, 192.168.0.4. Now once the R host, that is basically the target host, target IP addresses is done, you can type exploit. Go for exploit. Then a backdoor session will be created. So to get that particular IP address, you can go to Metasploitable. So let me just show you. Just go to Metasploitable and there you will find you will type ifconfig, right? So this is the wrong IP, I guess. Just a moment. One 192.168.0.4 exploit. Guys, the IP address for Metasploitable you can get when you turn on the Metasploitable server. Once you log in as MSF admin, MSF password as MSF admin, there after getting into Metasploitable, you can type ifconfig. Once you type ifconfig, you will get the IP address there itself. So let me just also set the C host and C port once. So set C host is going to be my Kali Linux IP address and C port is going to be my Kali Linux, my own computer's port. So here to get the C host, you need to search for ifconfig in your Kali Linux, which is 192.168.0.8 in my case. So you can just copy that and you can paste it in the C host one. Set C host 192.168.0. is 0.8, yes. Now you can set C port to 4444. C port 4444. Then enter. Set R host. So let me just show you in Metasploitable where you can see the IP address once. So just go to your Metasploitable server. So here, guys, once you go to Metasploitable server, here you can find the IP address. Once you log in as MSF admin, password MSF admin, you will get MSF admin at the rate Metasploitable colon. There you can just type ifconfig and you can get the IP address. INET address is going to be the IP address of the server. 192.168.0.2. Now come back to your Kali Linux and you can just give the IP address as the R host. 0.2. And then once it is done, you can go for exploit. Backdoor service has been spawned, handling, found a shell, command shell session 1 opened. So once you basically find this command shell session 1 opened, between 192.168.0.8 is the Kali Linux IP address and 192.168.0.2 is the Metasploitable server IP address. So two IP addresses are there. From one particular IP address, we went and compromised another particular IP address. Now, who am I? You can see we directly got the root access. If you type who am I and click on enter, you will get root. If you go for ls, you will get all the directories, listed directories. So these are all the files which are basically been saved in that particular server. So this is how you perform a server-based attack, guys, using FTP and using SMB. Two different protocols. For SMB, we basically go for the version Samba, and for FTP, the version is going to be VSFTPD 0.3.4 something. Yeah, 2.3.4. So that is for VSFTPD, FTP attack. So in both the attacks, one thing is important that you need to mention the version of that particular attack. And once you find the modules in that particular Metasploit framework, Metasploit tool, there definitely you need to look for the exact what you're trying to target, which service you're trying to target. Then you can call it by just typing use and give a number or copy paste that particular thing, and then what happens, we use SMB other than Samba. See, that's what I am trying to tell. SMB is basically a protocol, Samba is a version. So FTP is the protocol, VSFTPD is the version. So you need to use either SMB or either Samba, anything. But if you type Samba, you will get more accurate results. So you cannot understand once you use SMB. So clear, guys, till here. I guess Amarnath, it is clear for you as it is your project. If you have any doubts, you can ask Amarnath. So any doubts till here, anyone? Clear. Okay. So okay. So till here, guys, we completed our like complete portion. I guess. Let me just check the curriculum once. So guys, I guess we covered the whole curriculum till here. So let me just revise once. So just a moment. So guys, one thing I want update. How many of you completed the projects and how many of you are still working on the projects? Guys, what is the update on the projects? How much have you completed? 10%, 20%, 50%, 100%, or not yet started? What is the update? And if you have any doubts in those projects, please ask. 50%, okay. 50%. Sir, please explain SQL injection attack. So SQL injection already I explained right now, right? That is only the SQL injection. You can use different parameters. Some documentation on audio steganography. Okay. Audio steganography. So I'll just ask your mentor to give you the audio steganography. How to submit a source code, sir? So if you are basically using any tools, then you can give the source code of that particular tool. Or if you are developing something, if you are developing the whole HTML page or the website, then you can definitely give the source code of the website. So can you give some hints for in-depth vulnerability with Metasploit? What do I have to include in the project? So, in-depth vulnerability scanning is nothing but you can basically scan one target that is metasploitable. You can target and you can show the vulnerabilities. But whenever you go for the source code and everything, you can use the source code of Metasploit tool itself. So, you can give the source code of Metasploit tool. Sir, can you tell me how to make keylogger code that can send me text file via mail? So you need to create that particular keylogger. So get lot of uh, you can get lot of used scenarios on Google and GitHub. You can just go and refer there, Shiva. Sir, can you please share documentation about advanced? No, no, I am not going to share any kind of documentation, guys. So only thing why I told about audio steganography document is that so audio steganography is little bit tough part. So that is what I want to uh, uh, help that guy. So in yesterday's session, yesterday there was basically a session for the project discussion, right, regarding the project. So I guess you had a practical session, how keylogger works, how keylogger works and how it will work exactly. So I guess everyone were there. So in that session, in the last session, I guess, yeah, guys. So yesterday when the keylogger was told, so your mentor taught you how keylogger basically works, then I guess you should have asked in that time itself if you have any doubt. So if you have any doubts regarding technical sessions, please try to ask at that time itself. So that time itself you can get a clarity. So yesterday, however, it was explained, right? I guess 99% of whole thing you got to know, but if still you have 1%, you can try to ask. And one more thing, whenever there was a separate session and keylogger topic was explained, then I guess you should not have any doubts regarding that still. So that end, remaining everything, you need to do it on your own. Sir, how will be the last round? About last round, sir. Uh, Last round of project submission. So last one will be documentation, guys. So you need to document whatever you have done, right? You need to document everything. Source code will be the tool, whatever you have used, use the tool source code, and whatever the process you have done, take the screenshots, everything. Uh, so round one here. So first thing is, whenever you go for the flow of the project. So first one is abstract submission. Second one is going to be then a third one is going to be the source code, and fourth round is going to be the documentation round. Whenever you go for the source code round, you can either use the tool source code, or if you're developing something on your own, then give that particular code as the source code. In keylogger, we can take an example of keylogger. So keylogger, we need to code in Python, Java, or any of the coding language. You can basically use that code and you can definitely use it as a source code. But if you basically are using something as Wireshark or Nmap or Metasploit to complete your project and there is no code involved, then use Nmap Git repository, copy that particular source code and show it and submit it as a source code. Fourth one is documentation. Documentation should start from the what is this attack about and everything. You need to basically give the whole working model, how exactly it is working, what is the vulnerability about, what are the tools you are using. After the complete theoretical information, you can directly go for the screenshots of the working model of your project. So give the whole screenshots and everything. After that, you can show the output, input, and then 2 to 3 work scenarios, and then you can close it. Still working, sir. I front end and back end working. It's too difficult to access the web. Working part to one part. It is too difficult to integrate with front end to back end. Analysis URL is not working. I think nearly 20 to 25% completed. Is it PPT or PDF, sir? So guys, whenever you go for third stage is going to be source code. Fourth stage is nothing, but you need to test the project. So whenever you go for the stage 4, the whole project should be submitted in a video format. You need to take the complete what you say screen recording of that particular session, whatever you're explaining. So take the screen recording of that whole session and try to explain in that particular screen recording how you are using your project, what is the input, what is the output, and what are the vulnerabilities you are finding. So that will basically be the fourth stage, and fifth stage will be the final documentation of your whole for SQL injection. Can we submit GitHub source code of DVWA? Yeah, yes, Vasavi, you can do that. So that is how you're going to do, guys. So these are basically 5 different stages. Try to concentrate on these 5 different stages. Where can I see abstract marks in tap? So see, regarding the marks, once your abstract is corrected, then only you will see the marks, right? So if your marks are less or high now, doesn't matter. You have already submitted it. So rather than looking at the marks, I basically suggest you guys to work on your project. So if the marks are less also, you can basically score more by doing good work on the project. So please concentrate on that part more rather than looking out for the marks or evaluation part. So if your abstract is not selected, not evaluated, or something problem is there, then definitely they will give you a message or a call. So if there is something regarding that. So how marks we need on abstract? See guys, doesn't matter how many marks you need on abstract, whatever marks are there. If you fail, see, in the last session, I guess I have told you guys, 90% of the people were failed to again resubmit the abstract. So if there is something like that you have failed or you did something, you will definitely get to know. They will definitely inform you for the resubmission. Don't worry about that. So the last day is on Wednesday. Just keep that in your mind. So that is the thing, guys. Still any doubts? So I guess round one is completed. Abstracts So whoever failed in that particular abstract submission, I hope everyone has submitted the abstracts. Now, once you completed the submission of the abstract, now if you try to submit today, tomorrow, or yesterday, then your abstracts will not be taken. So as that day, whenever I was taking the class, I guess on Thursday, I have already told you till today evening, today night, 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, try to submit everything, right? So that day itself, if you have submitted, then definitely they will be considered. If you do it after the date which has been passed, then definitely they will not be considered. What is the pass marks for third assignment? You do the assignment properly, you will definitely pass. You don't need to worry about the marks. Don't use ChatGPT. Try to use your own knowledge and do. That is enough. Still any doubts, guys? Sir, for SQL injection attacks, we use SQL map in VirtualBox Kali Linux. Yes, you can also use SQL map. Let's try to complete your projects on time and try to submit them on time. So there should, if there is something that which is wrong also, you will be able to, whenever the people of, whenever the Blackbucks team responds you that there is, you failed or you basically did it wrong, then you will have time to correct it. So don't wait for the last moment. But the subjective part is hard, sir. Whatever prompt we give, still getting the least marks. Sir, you had said that you will assign marks after resubmitting the files for assignment 3. So please assign the marks. See, you guys have submitted the assignment, right? That was your duty. So regarding the correction, leave it on the team. Don't try to rely on the dates whenever you see the marks. Okay. Leave that on the team. Whenever they want to correct, they will correct and they will assign the marks. So once you have submitted, that is more than enough. Is there any chance to extend the project date? No, no, no. There is no chance to extend the project date, Prakash. So can you use the source code from GitHub for audio steganography? I see it's up to you how you want to use it. So however you want to build it, if it is giving the right result, then please concentrate and try to make it more better. There is no problem. Sanjeev. Yeah. Still any doubts, guys? Or can we rewrite the employability test for better marks? No, no, you can't do that. So for advanced system hacking via SME project, I have to write code for Metasploit, sir. No, you don't. Why you will write code for Metasploit? You need to submit the code of Metasploit from GitHub. You should not write, you should submit. You will get it on GitHub already. Yeah, man. So guys, whenever you go for the whole course of the cyber security, so first we started with understanding the CAA triad, which is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So after that, we basically considered how what is vulnerability, how the vulnerabilities are being done. So how basically cybersecurity works and all. After that, we basically started in we basically got into networking part. So in networking part, we have different ports and protocols. So we understood how network topologies works for the communication. We discussed something about how basically IP addresses will be there, how IP addresses are allotted by DHCP servers. And we also went through a topic of firewalls, intrusion detection and prevention systems, how they are basically built, what is the duty of IDS and IPS, what is the difference between IDS and IPS that we considered. And whenever you go for computer networks, I guess OSI models, everything has been covered. After that, whenever you go for the vulnerabilities of operating systems, in operating systems, we basically got two types of operating systems, as everyone know. One is Windows and one is Linux operating systems. So in Windows operating system, what are the versions, what are the accounts, what are the different you can tell vulnerabilities found in Windows, and what are the different vulnerabilities found in our Linux operating systems that we discussed. Now, whenever you go for the next part, that is information gathering, we basically consider targets. That is how exactly a target is there, what are the phases of information gathering, how an information gathering can be used, what are the tools that we can consider, starting from nmap, maltigo, either dns enumeration, dns recon, you can go for who is lookup and sublister. And these are all basically different tools for enumeration and information gathering. So we basically completed the information gathering part. Then we got into enumeration part. We used different tools there. Then we basically went into web application security, where we have used DVWA as our target, and we basically tried to attack using Metasploit tool. We did SQL injection attacks. We did cross-site scripting attacks. So these all have been completed in this particular course. So remaining thing in the next session, I'll just try to explain you the whole complete whatever we have discussed. I'll just try to again make you revise. I'll basically give you the revision of that whole curriculum. After giving the revision, we'll just wrap up with the career paths in cybersecurity, how you can get a job. So what is basically a career path you need to follow, and how you can basically choose the right cybersecurity stream. So which is basically a more employability rate. Where is a more employability rate? Where the more hiring is being done, where is the less hiring, and what are the competitive fields. So we'll just discuss everything, and then we will wrap up the course. So guys, still we have one session remaining. After that particular one session, so in the last session, I basically want to tell everyone should be there. Ask your friends to join, so that we will just try to discuss everything, the career paths and future in cybersecurity, how you can land a job, how you can basically what you can expect out of the job, what are the roles and responsibilities, everything we'll consider, and then we can wrap up the session. So that is what we are going to do in the next session. We will completely discuss the whole course, and then we will end up by discussing the career paths in cybersecurity. So still, if you have any doubts, guys, you can ask, or you are good to leave. Sir, SQL map source code perform చేసిన స్క్రీన్ షాట్ కూడా రౌండ్ త్రీలో అటాచ్ చేయాలా? First, you try to build project Shiva, then we will tell you what is the last date for internship. Yeah, round three in source code, you can give the whole code, Vijay. Perform చేసిన screenshots, I guess it is not required. In the next round, you will need that performance screenshots. So right now, try to submit the source code. That will be enough. RSS source code from GitHub. Students, we updated on Telegram as we are sharing every notification. Guys, regarding round one marks, the abstract has not yet been evaluated. Once you basically submit it, then you can move towards preparation for round 2 and round 3. So abstract last date for the submission is going to be Wednesday. After that, any submissions will not be considered. Okay, abstract last date was on Wednesday. Whoever submit after will not get any marks for abstract. You can submit system requirements. The last date is tomorrow. Guys, one thing for to revise. So abstract submission was on last Wednesday. So whoever submitted it before last week, last Wednesday, that is, let me just check the date. So last date for submission of abstract was on 10th July. So if you submitted the abstract on 10th July, then fine. Whoever submitted on 11, 12, 13, they will be not be considered. So you can basically go for the round 2. So try to basically submit the system requirements for the round 2. And for the round 2, last date is tomorrow. Till tomorrow, you need to complete the round 2, guys. Make sure you complete the round 2 or else you will not get marks for round 2. Till tomorrow evening, you need to complete. So that's it for today, guys. Just make sure you complete the round 2 by tomorrow evening.